Can you believe that in 2002, a small blue alien with four arms and an insatiable appetite for chaos would not only take over Disney, but also capture the hearts of millions? It all began with a film that would become an unexpected gem in the Disney catalog, Lilo and Stitch, a movie that defied all convention and introduced audiences to the concept of Ohana, which means family. This would resonate deeply across cultures and generations. But this story, like any great one, was just the beginning. The journey of Lilo and Stitch would be one of incredible success. It would be a massive, multifaceted franchise with sequels, spin offs, books, games, and theme park attractions, all woven together with incredible storytelling by Disney between a bond of an alien and a little Hawaiian girl. Let's all say aloha to Stitch as we go through the history of Lilo and Stitch. It's not every day that a Disney movie sets out to redefine the way we think about family. In 2002, Lilo and Stitch hit theaters and would be directed by Chris Sanders. And it just didn't change the way we told stories in the theater, it redefined the genre that Disney created. They wanted to tell a story about a cute alien experiment gone wrong. It would reshape how Disney fans viewed the idea of belonging and how they thought about Disney movies as a whole. In a time when Disney's animated output was grappling with the shift from its Renaissance era to the new phase, Lilo and Stitch arrived as a breath of fresh air. It was no longer princesses, it was a little blue alien. This wasn't just the typical fairy tale that Disney would bring to the theaters. It was something different, something new, something raw. This is what made it such a success. It was a heartwarming story that Disney fully embraced. They embraced the wildness, they embraced the quirkiness, and they embraced the fan base. For those who haven't seen the movie or are going for the first time to see the live action one that is coming out, the story surrounds Lilo, a little Hawaiian girl who's lonely. She's being taken care of her sister after a tragic accident by her parents. So Lilo wants something more. She wants to feel something, and she wants a connection. Even though her sister's there to take care of her, Lilo is still missing that joy, that happiness. And Lilo's sister takes her to go get a dog. That dog becomes the mischievous Stitch, an alien that crash landed on Hawaii. That's where the story goes into pure chaos. The aliens which Stitch had escaped come to Earth to find him, and they will stop at nothing to capture Stitch. But through all this, Lilo and Stitch connect. They find out what a family truly is. They find out the meaning of Ohana, and this is the message that resonates with the audiences. But it wasn't just the fact that Stitch and Lilo resonated with audiences, that the family dynamic, though different, really pulled at the heartstrings of the audiences watching in theaters. It was the fact that Stitch himself was extremely marketable. Stitch was part of a marketing campaign like one we've never seen before from the Walt Disney Company. Stitch would be implemented in ads featuring the princesses of various different Disney movies, causing mayhem. And this is what made him such a unique character. This meant toys, dolls, games, everything had to have Stitch's face on it. They went all out at the Walt Disney Company. They found their cash cow and they wanted to invest. So that meant not just merchandise, it meant sequels, new ideas, everything surrounding Lilo and Stitch. Stitch the movie marked the first step in expanding the world of Lilo and Stitch. This direct-to-video film picked up right where the movie left off. Lilo and Stitch were tasked at capturing the remaining 625 experiments that Dr. Jumba had created, each of them having their own dangerous style and ability. But the experiments each had something they wanted to prove, something that maybe just made them a little misunderstood. Lilo wanted to help Stitch's cousins, or his Ohana, at making a better life for themselves on Earth. Even though they were dangerous, Lilo saw that they all had potential, just like her Stitch. What made this direct-to-video movie so unique and so successful was the fact that it was actually a backdoor pilot for Lilo and Stitch the series. This series would have 2 seasons with 65 episodes, and the show would delve deeper into the adventures of Lilo and Stitch as they went after the rest of Jumper's experiments. Each of these characters that would be introduced would be bizarre and outlandish, but all having a unique ability different from Stitch's. And this is what made it such a fun show. It introduced new characters but kept the same core character base and built upon the universe around Lilo and Stitch, something that a lot of Disney movies hadn't really done. Disney movies in the past had direct-to-video series, but in reality, not a lot of them built on the story. Though we had series like the Little Mermaid series and the Aladdin series, those were all supposed to be direct-to-video movies as well. So the Lilo and Stitch series, which truly meant to expand the universe and introduce new characters in new ways to build new audiences. The success of the series and the previous 2 movies would lead into Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, in 2005. This offered a new, fresh look at Stitch's past and a direct-to-video film that explored one of the major flaws in Stitch's programming, causing him to act out and a glitch to occur within his brain. The movie deepened Stitch's bond with Lilo and further cemented the emotional core of the franchise. If you grew up during this time period, you probably vividly remember that the Disney Channel and Toon Disney would lean into Lilo and Stitch across the board. It wasn't just the original Lilo and Stitch movie. They would play all 3 constantly and always have the TV series running. Even at some points, they would have endless 65-episode marathons. They would do so much marketing around these marathons to bring in the attention of fans and kids to watch all the movies and all the episodes in the series. In 2005, there would also be a short film called The Origin of Stitch that bridged between Lilo and Stitch 2 and Stitch the movie. It explored Stitch's creation and gave audiences an idea of his initial creation and the reason behind it. By 2005, it seemed like Stitch was running out of gas within the marketing giant of Disney. However, Leroy and Stitch would come out in 2006 and would throw one more curveball. The film took place after Lilo and Stitch had captured all 625 experiments. They were celebrated as heroes, but just as they were preparing for a quiet life, a new threat would emerge: Leroy, an evil clone of Stitch. The film tied up loose ends from the series and offered a satisfying conclusion of all the movies and the TV series, showing that Stitch and Lilo's bond was unbreakable even when faced with the ultimate challenge. There would be many spin-offs, video games, and merchandising behind Lilo and Stitch in all the experiments. They would make everything from clothing to video games to plushies to anything that you could imagine. Even today, if you go to any of the Disney parks, Stitch will be there. Stitch is on almost all of the merchandise, and he's front and center in many of the marketing tactics that Disney utilizes. That has been the true, unbelievable ability of Stitch. After all these years, the character still resonates with fans. He's something different, something unique, not the typical Disney character that they create. And that's what made people love him. There has always been a huge fan base since the first movie of Stitch, and they follow him and they go nuts wherever the character goes on any merchandise. It's important to note that Stitch also had great success overseas. In Japan, he would be part of a Japanese anime that would run until 2011, starting in 2008, and would be very successful, him befriending a karate-loving girl. And in 2017, in China, he would be part of a series called Stitch in Ah. Both would bring more uniqueness and more light to the character of Stitch. He'd be faced with new battles and new fears, but Stitch, as always, would succeed. Let us know in the comments below if you're excited for the new Lilo and Stitch movie. We want to hear from all of you. Thank you.